In this piano tutorial, I want to share a simple progression or movement that we can use when we are approaching the 4 within a song, right? So let's say we are in the key of C. The 4 would be, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and F major. And a lot of songs use the 4 either in the chorus or in any other part of the song, right? So one example would be the song Jesus at the Center, right? Which goes, Jesus at the center of it all. And then the next chord is a 4, right? Jesus at the center, and so on and so forth. So usually when we are approaching this 4, we can take different steps. We can use different progressions or different voicings or different chord qualities to approach this 4 in a way that it sounds natural. One of the steps that a lot of keyboard players or piano players use is basically using the 1 chord, which is the 5 of the 4, right? So really quick explanation. It's basically the secondary dominant, right? So when we have the 4, which is F in this case, the 5 of the 4 would be the C. And what we do is basically make this C a dominant chord. And the reason for this is because when we add this B flat, which is the minor 7th or the dominant, right? It gives that feeling or that sense of tension which wants to release once we play this F, right? So you can sort of hear that tension and release, right? So that's one of the options that we have when approaching the 4 chord, right? So Jesus at the center of it all, right? We can use this here, C7, Jesus at, and then you can see how it sort of flows naturally. But the progression that I want to teach today is one that you've probably heard before. It's a little bit different, and it starts off on the 6, right? We're going to use a set of passing chords that I sort of consider the circle of fourths, right? So it sounds something like this. I'm going to use it without the song in context, and then I'll use it within the song, okay? So let's say we're going to the 4, we would play something like this. Right, so all I'm doing here is I'm playing it in the most basic way possible, right? I'm starting off on the 6. Now this is a 6, but it's sort of separated, right? I'm playing the 6 on my left hand as the bass note. My right hand is playing a C major, right? Or the 1. That's the way that I like visualizing. It makes it a little bit easier. And all I'm doing here is going down chromatically, right? So all my notes, all the notes that I'm playing are going to go 1 note to the left. And that gives us an A flat minor 7. And then we do it once more. And that gives us a G minor 7, right? And then from here, we go up to the C again. But this time we're going to use that C7 that we mentioned before. And from here we land on F major, okay? So once again. Now that's the basic way, but from here we can start adding the extra notes to the chords that we have, right? For example, one of the things I like doing is adding the 7th to my left hand so that it's not all alone down here in the left side. So I add the G, which is the minor 7th, right? Since it's a minor chord, that makes it that basically keeps it the same. I'm doubling up this up note right here, this rightmost note, which is G, and the same rules apply. We just go down chromatically, right? In this case, A flat has this G flat up here, then we have G with this F up here, and then we go to C7 and then F once again. Now one extra step we can take, right? So far we have these notes. I also like adding the ninth. In this case, we're talking in terms of the main chord that we're playing, right? So A minor, I like adding the ninth, which is B, right? The ninth is basically the second, but up an octave. So B, I'm just moving it up here. That gives us that A or that minor 9 sound. And we can still follow the same exact rules of going down chromatically. So right, all the notes are just moving down, so the voicing stays exactly the same. And then we play that C7, and then we finish on F major. Now, one extra step I want to take is switching up the sound of that C7, right? We had this C7, but I like altering these notes a little bit, right? So one of the voicings I really like using is this one right here. It's a C13 flat 9, right? And this chord is still dominant. As you can see, it has that B flat in there. But it's a good substitution that we can use for the C7. And a good way of memorizing this chord is, or the way that I like memorizing it, is I'm basically playing that C7 on my left hand, but my right hand is going to play a simple triad. But the way I think about it is I'm playing the triad that is a half step to the left of my dominant note, right, of my minor 7. So B flat, the note that is left to it would be A, and I'm simply going to play an A major with my right hand. And that's how we form this chord right here. And then we finish off with a F, and just for the fun of it, let's make it an F major 7. So all together, it would sound something like this. So within the context of the song, right, we're playing Jesus at the center of it all. Jesus at, right? It's a different way of approaching that same 4 chord that we're used to, but it's a way to get creative. And there's a bunch of different stuff we can also do, right? So if we think about this movement a little bit more theoretically, we're basically going around the circle of fourths. So what I mean by this is we started off on the 6, right? And we saw that we were going down chromatically to get to the F. But in reality, when we go down chromatically, this is technically a tritone away from the 4th of A, right? So if we're going from A to D, this D is being substituted by the tritone, which is A flat. So I hope you guys are following me here. So we're technically playing this right here. We're playing A, then D, which we substituted, then we get to this G, and then we play C, and then we play F. So instead of playing this progression, we can actually play something with D, right? We can substitute this tritone for D and play something like, right? We're playing D in this case. We're still maintaining this chromatic movement right here, right? We can play this, which doesn't even come up in the software, but it works out for this progression. So it would sound something like this, right? And then the next chord is a C, right? But we can also apply that tritone substitution. So the same way we substituted this D for this A flat, we can actually substitute this C for F sharp. So we can do something like, and then we finally reach the F. And the chord that I play for F sharp is simply an F sharp dominant with a flat 5, okay? Flat 5 would be this C right here. So if we go back to the original movement that we did, we can actually just make the whole move chromatic if we wanted to, right? We have a bunch of different options. So Jesus at the center of it all. Jesus at the center. Right? It's a different way of approaching the same chord. So hopefully you're able to get something out of this lesson. Please leave any suggestions down below, whether it be a song request or simply a lesson of something you would like to learn. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe and like this video. That helps out the channel a bunch. And I'll see you next time.